few bits off the field, because it's always important to talk about things around the club. It's not just always transfers. So the first thing I wanted to ask you was, again, a name that kind of came from nowhere, Liverpool's new coach for Johnny Heitinga goes. Giovanni van Bronckhorst got mentioned, but it seems to have gone quiet. Is that done? Is that nearly done? Is there any update on that one at all?
I think it's nearly done. Yeah, I think that one will happen. I think basically the when we did the story last Wednesday or whenever it was, I think that was pretty much that it was done. And there's not really too much more to add on that one. It's not like a transfer where you have to go back and forth with bids and stuff. I think that Van Bronckhorst will end up being the Liverpool coach, basically taking Heitinga's job. And I've been doing my research on him in the last few days for one of my pieces or videos next week about Van Bronckhorst, and most people have good things to say. Not all good things, actually, I must say, but a few of the Rangers people said he's not perfect, but I think everyone respects his standing in the game. You know, over 100 caps for Holland, good coach. You know, basically whatever it was, everything that held him back as a first team manager, he wouldn't have to do now. He wasn't very good with the sort of motivating bit. He wasn't as good with the, media element and transfer stuff, but he won't have to do any of that as a coach. So he can focus purely on his tactical side and stuff. So I think it's a good move. We'll have to see.
Yeah, another Dutchman set to arrive any second, and fixture-wise as well. Now, these came out Wednesday, just gone, didn't they? And we start away at Bournemouth, as it says. Got to ask you, because I'm still unsure about this. Friday night football for the opener. What are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm not sure about. I don't know if I like Friday nights as for football. I think there's been a lot of times when the Friday night games have been on, I've just not even watched them because I'll be busy doing other stuff on a Friday night. So yeah, it means that I normally have Thursdays off, so I can't do that because I'll have to be at the presser. So yeah, I mean it does get it out of the way with, like, you've got the whole weekend, and if you win that Friday night game, you can enjoy it for longer. But I'm not a massive fan of Friday night football. Obviously, the fact that it's in August is good, but yeah, I wouldn't want to be sitting in the stands at 8 p.m. Friday on a cold night in January, for example.
Yeah, maybe timing comes into it. And I mean, you'll have the Thursday presser, but you're also going to have a busy week because it's been announced today, hasn't it? The Community Shield is the Sunday of all days, the weekend before, so a short lead in. Is it just typical bad FA planning, basically?
Yeah, I mean, the Community Shield is a glorified friendly anyway. It's one of them where if you win it, great. If you lose it, forget about it, never think about it again. No one cares. So yeah, it's a nice little way to ease into the season. It'll be a first official debut, maybe for like the likes of Wirtz and Kirkes and Frimpong and whoever else. So yeah, but then they'll only have 4 days to prepare for the next game, which isn't ideal at the start of a season. You like them full weeks to do the tactical work, and you don't want to push yourself too much at the start when the fitness isn't quite there.
Yeah, it will be interesting to see how Slot manages those minutes. But I suppose actually, I would say it's Liverpool off the field, wider FSG, because this also came out this week amongst a million other things. Getafe, the Spanish club, FSG potentially adding them or looking at adding them to their multi-club model. Is there any updates on that? Does that sound serious from what you're hearing?
No updates other than the fact that they're considering it, as they have done with a number of clubs over the last few months and the last year. So yeah, it's definitely one to watch, but there's nothing to suggest it's a done deal by any stretch at this stage. But obviously, it could move fairly quickly if they do decide it's the right club for them.
Yeah, especially one in the Spanish Premier League or whatever it's called as well. So yeah, it could be a great move for the multi-club if people are a fan of that. And FSG, speaking of them, I suppose I'm referencing your Daily Mail colleague, Craig Hope here, because he had the exclusive that apparently Julian Ward, the FSG technical director, is a contender for the Newcastle sporting director role now that Paul Mitchell's left there. Any news on that? Anything you're hearing around that one at all?
No, I think obviously if Craig's wrote it, then it'll be very well sourced from the Newcastle end. But I haven't heard anything at the Liverpool end, to be honest. Either way, obviously they want him. It doesn't necessarily mean that he will move. So there's a few if buts and maybes with that one, but it would be a good coup for Newcastle. But as far as I'm aware, Ward is still, influential in transfers. I know he was with Michael Edwards yesterday, so I think them two and Richard Hughes are obviously still pulling the strings at Liverpool for now. So until that changes, that will remain the case. But yeah, Newcastle are definitely keen, so maybe it's one to watch. But I've not heard anything at this end.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if that does attract him as well, especially with Eddie Howe working. But we'll see if anything develops on that one. And I suppose the final 2 points. Have you watched any of these? I don't know if you get much chance in between, but the Alice and My Story documentary, have you clocked any of that or any of the things he mentions at all?
No, I've not watched any of it yet. I've not had time this week. I've been quite busy. But yeah, I mean, I will get round to watching it at some point. I think he's got a great backstory. He's always a good talker, so it'll make a good watch for sure.
Yeah, should do. Always seems to be friendly in the mix zone that way as well. And the final question, I think you'll like this because we dug it out as proof, but the bet was made by David Lynch last season or at the start of this season, you could say, just going that if Liverpool won the league or a major trophy, that he would give us a potential guitar tune. Now, I know you've introed the other day with what's a mild trance coming in, which is different. Everyone's got a different string to the bow nowadays. So I'll let you give us possible suggestions on what we can ask David Lynch to play for when he's back next week.
Well, me and Lynchy had a chat when we were at Anfield the other week, and Cortina's Not 19 Forever was on. So I'd like to see him sing a bit of Cortina, as he said he's seen them a few times. Or I think he's got tickets to Oasis this summer as well. So maybe a bit of Oasis or Cortina's Not 19 Forever. That seems to that would be nice to see Lynchy sing, actually.
There we go. We'll put it to him. Oasis or the Cortinas, Not 19 Forever. These patch journos just keep adding more and more strings to their bow every week, don't they, ladies and gentlemen? But there we go. Incomings, possibly galore. Outgoings, seems the same way, doesn't it? And a million things happening off the pitch. It is a crazy busy time. And hopefully later, we're about to get the biggest announcement of announcements. But we'll see what happens. All that leaves me to say as ever is, Lewis, for the time, the insight on what I know is a mad busy day. It is much appreciated.
Thank you very much for having me. Look forward to the next one.
There we go. And ladies and gents, that was another Media Matters for Anfield Index.